Hey, there we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to the whale watch expedition. Apologies for being late by over an hour. Today was the last day for the sales special of a certain store that I usually go to do holiday shopping. So I took my time, because, you know, presents are usually better when they're thought out to match the individuals, at least to some extent. And boy, my ass is kicked. You all know that I had a lot of trouble yesterday moving around, doing things, generally existing because of the double tap flu shots and the booster shot I got, and I was still feeling a lot of it today. In fact, my joints still hurt a lot. That's a good old-fashioned flu symptom. So yeah, I'm in a lot of pain. Well, not a lot of pain now. I'm resting now, so I'm alright now. But boy, that sucked. Anyhow, Joe DJ means being maybe a little higher on this. Anyhow. Let me bring out my notes. Sakamata Chloe's debut was nothing like quite I expected. Given how she was played up by her colleagues in the generation, I was expecting a slightly different personality. Instead, well, you will see what we got instead. Let's start off right now. First off, from 0 seconds 00. That's a really epic soundtrack, and you are in fact hearing her over the broadcast, not aware that her mic is on, that she has a hot mic. So already we're on a great start. Already she's a little clumsy. I believe it takes her about 3 minutes before her manager tells her that her mic is actually on and that we can hear her typing away. There we go. GG. Yeah, it just kind of sucks. Let me lower that a little bit. Yeah. Punkotsu moment. She's a little clumsy. That's alright. Also, I want you to keep how epic this background track is in mind, right? This BGM is a boss battle. It's a boss battle music, basically, right? And she's supposed to be the sweeper of Hololive. The evil organization's like heavy when things get complicated. You need to get the bodies out of the way, right? And this is what we get instead. That is a grotesquely cute voice.
無事成功しましたね。では挨拶いきます。バックバックバクーン。ホロックスの
That is almost painfully cute.
シャツの坂本です。よろしくお願いします。
So yeah, her species is supposed to be an orca. Technically, the killer whale, except they're actually more closely related to dolphins, which explains their homicidal tendencies, which is probably why she is the fixer for the organization, right? But damn, that is one cute orca.
しっかり設定してもらったまんま行ったはずなんですけど。
I also like how the mask is actually expressive. It solves a lot of the problems I had with the overall concept of a mask. And for her to play the orca role, yeah, I kind of see it. No, I more than kind of see it. It's obvious that if you're going to play an orca girl, you should have a mask, a black and white mask. Why does she talk so cutely? Also, the Fang knows the Fang. This is an important detail. The fang is an important detail.
表示しますね。
That little off-center fang, that is critical. That is key.
今ね、坂本はちょっとマリちゃんにわがままを言ってコメントの速度をね、速度制限しないでもらったんですね。
Yep.
なので皆さんがビュンビュンで動いてるの
Now,
が
she doesn't talk anywhere near as fast Koyuri, but she does, in fact, talk a lot for the next few segments. And she goes into some of the details about what's been going on Twitter, everything here, right? Like, A-chan playing off of her, some of the discussions that they've had, little,
怒らないでください、ごめんなさいということで、
and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, this is most of this is inaccessible to us Westerners because obviously language
こっちは
barrier.
向きねえのかと。はい。
But she's been having a fun time on Twitter leading up to her debut.
最初のツイート大事よ。初ツイート大事だよ。一番大事。
She's also a little dorky. She doesn't have full control over her stream yet. Based on the fact that she's not used to using the more advanced functions for OBS and everything else, I kind of get a feeling that she isn't necessarily an experienced streamer,
事務連絡があるので。
but definitely has some level of content creation, right? Or at least not a sort of streamer that does her own like video content, right?
首かなって正直思いました。あ、
Oh,
死ぬん
shit.
だって。あ、坂
My apologies. I forgot to switch over to display. Shit. You know what? Let's pretend the last 10 minutes didn't happen. Okay, here it is. Here's the boss music. Here's all the excitement. Yada yada yada. It gives the impression that she's gonna be some kind of like terrible boss, like some kind of like last boss sort of person, right? Or at least like a major boss fight. And this is what happens when the boss music ends. There we go. Now we're caught up. I apologize for that. I wasn't paying attention to my own screen. I was criticizing her command on OBS. I'm a dumbass sometimes.
事故ってない
But
で
yes,
す。
all that boss music to introduce this.
無事成功しましたね。では挨拶いきます。
She is in fact an orca,
バックバック
a killer whale girl.
ホロックスの掃除や担当シャツの坂本です。よろ
That's
しくお願い
adorable.
します。
Yep. So she's a little clumsy. Her audio was her mic was audible during the whole boss music segment, leading up to this. When she's trying to present like some background of what she's been up to, like this basically degenerates into a standard like talk stream really quickly. And it was mostly her goofing around having like a scuffed stream, right? Like she had to mess with her layers. You can hear her mouse clicking to get everything up. This is her talking about the tweets she had leading up to her debut, some of the nonsense that the Hololive staff has been playing around with her.
ですから。
So far so good. She has a really cute voice, and and the mask itself, the expressiveness of the mask, I really appreciate.
そうした時点ですね。寝てました。すいません。怒らないでください。
And being a little shy and clumsy is also just endearing, especially with that vocal
怒
archetype.
られるんじゃないかなと震えて
I have reasons to believe it isn't exactly her true voice, but we'll get to that in a bit.
入ってきて。
The next interesting part is her being a bit of a troll.
いくらなんでもこんなツイートがされてました。
This is her emulating her Jinmei's voice.
真似しちゃいけないのか。真似しちゃダメだよね。まだねみんな知らないからネタバレになっちゃうな。どうしようかな。坂本いつになったら起きるでござるか。いくらなんでも寝すぎでござる。起きないと。
I'm going to guess that's not what Iroha actually sounds like, but emulate,
本当にね。
but her playfulness is appreciated. That also just makes her cuter.
優しくて本当怒るタイプでもなんでもないんですけどめちゃくちゃね
And yeah, this just keeps on going. She loves to talk, especially if there's a funny story to talk about. Now this part I don't know what's actually about. I have to look up some clips later to find out what the heck these pie charts are about. I'm only mostly going there though to show that she does have a bunch of things planned, but it's not exactly as complicated as what her jammates have put out.
9時間10時間かなと思うんです
And you can kind of see why that you can see that she still needs to work on some of the background stuff, right? Like she has a hard time making sure the audio lines up with the background she's using. This like moldy, dusky room over here, you can still hear the beach in the background.
すいません 間じゃあ坂間ちょっと縮ましてもらおうかな。お邪魔しますね。いろいろちょっと。
There's a serious gap between like her costume, her appearance, and her personality, right? Like that hood has metal rivets. She has belt straps to her bustier and a leather collar around her neck, and she acts like this. Now, some of her personality actually matches the aesthetic, but we'll get to that in a bit. So overall, sharks and penguins, also some whales. In fact, orcas tend to eat everything. If they can kill it and stuff it in their mouth, they'll eat it. And sometimes if they don't want to eat it, they'll use it as basically a soccer ball. I've heard at least one occasion when a pack of orcas harassed a seal to the point that its skin was stripped off but didn't eat it. They basically just treat it as a ball, a soccer ball for sport. They are maybe too human-like. However, this one's just cute. This one just has a really, really endearing voice and personality. So I expect her not to be the predator. In fact, I expect her to be preyed upon in a bit. But we'll get to that in a bit. Also, Wicked, I appreciate you being on the channel again. This is going to her background. Unlike the previous HoloX members, she appears to have zero fluency in English whatsoever. I've only seen like a couple of English tweets to Ollie, but they were by far the most broken English of the whole lot, right? And that's saying quite a bit because none of them are like truly 100% fluent. But yeah, I wouldn't expect too much in terms of international appeal for her, except for the fact that she's really, really cute. And it's a lot and the way that her motto accentuates that is particularly powerful. And I'll show you how in a bit. So from this bit, which is just basically her background information. God, that's a cute voice. What the hell? So anime. So yeah, this entire 10-minute segment is talking about herself. So that's already impressive in terms of how much she can get out of a few passages, right? This is when she starts talking about her fan name, her Oshi mark. Knows that in contrast to the to everybody else so far, there is no English equivalent. So yeah, her confidence in her English is probably really exactly 0, or maybe like 0.01. Well, with this one, we're going to be entirely dependent on Clippers because I'm going to guess that her collabs after a month, her collabs with the Western branches and the Indonesian branches will probably be fairly limited, and only with ones that are already solidly fluid. I need more fluids. Yeah, but all this just to set it up. She loves to talk. She has plenty to talk about. Unfortunately, unlike the previous ones, she doesn't actually pull out any of her full-scale art, so costume details are going to be a little lost until her artist pulls it out. But she has a great lineage in terms of like her artist, her rigger, like sharing the same lineage with Botan and Lami is great news. Her expressiveness is definitely not in doubt. Yeah. See, that's the thing though. It's not just that. That mask is a deadly weapon because it hides probably her greatest asset. In fact, it acts as an amplifier for her greatest asset. And let me see, that's about 50. No. This part's more talk. This part is talking about her future plans with HoloX. There's a clip for this that will actually explain it, thankfully, because I can't read a single word of Japanese. But the most dangerous part about Chloe starts around here. You see chat? Chat's popping off. Chat is asking for that face review. Oh, and also Matsuri's in the channel. That blush under the mask is already really deadly, because having that a bit of hiddenness to her expression is definitely powerful, right? Oi, hello. That's too cute. That's a deadly weapon. What the hell? The sheer contrast is too powerful. looking down and up at you like that while blushing. Let me go back to that frame.
ちょっと
This will give men heart attacks. This is unfair. Yeah, what you said. That's illegal. That angle, that expression, and that amount of blush is illegal.
ありがとうございました。
And then she hides it away. And what's the most powerful thing about this is that if they just revealed her with her normal face alone, it wouldn't be nearly as powerful. Yes, her eyes are a little larger. Black Omega, I feel like she ruined the mystery by dropping it too soon, even if it did make her a smash hit. I kind of agree, but it really depends on how she uses it from now on, right? Like, she gives the vibe of being naturally really shy and awkward, which is why I expect that her mask will be kept on for about 98% of the time. But the devastating thing here is how that mask works, right? Her face normally, like, this is a pretty cute face overall. The blushing works, the larger than normal eyes, even by anime standards, really accentuates the moe aspect, and the little fang is especially deadly, right? But none of it would be particularly interesting if it wasn't for that mask. Having that mask on stores power for her that she can unleash any time to break hearts. That's powerful. Also, that voice is just cheating too. Like, Hakui Koyori knows that she's cute, but Chloe has a more natural cuteness, right? And don't get me wrong, this is completely artificial too. This is in fact engineered cuteness. She knows what she is doing. I'll show you why I think she knows exactly what she's doing in a bit. But she has a very natural talent for this archetype of moe-ness, right? Moe cuteness. Yeah, everything about her color coordination is great. That's a great point, Oi. The color coordination, the way that her eyes match the little ribbons everywhere to give it more of a pop, and the blushing too, against pale skin and white hair as well, the framing of that is genius. But her acting talent, I think I'm 99% sure this is all in act, but it's extremely good acting, right? And the reason I think that is because none of you are going to expect what's coming up now. Listen carefully to how she sings. You can't see it, but I'm waving my arms at the screen right now. What the hell? Are you listening to this contrast right now? What the hell? I feel like I fell for a honey trap. I will bet you anything this is her actual natural voice. The sort of girl that can flip a switch like that is especially dangerous. So yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I'm pretty sure you were not expecting that. I'm pretty sure nobody in the audience was expecting that. And the rest of it was just like her messing around with backgrounds and posing right. So yeah, that Logiko act, I'm fairly certain that's artificial, but it's so well done. It is so endearingly well done. But don't be fooled. That is a killer whale. That girl acts cute. It will break your heart. But let me see. What else is there? Oh yeah. Okay, so in the actual debut stream itself, she never showed her full costume. Here is, well, mask on, mask off doesn't make a difference. This is how she actually looks in full. Actually, let me shrink that a little bit. Make sure that looks proper. Yeah. I really like the caution tape over here. It's a warning sign. She's not as cute as she looks. She does, in fact, have a really mature voice when she sings. The ripstock is a nice bit of kink. The leather straps and jacket to hold her back. Obviously, look at me. I'm totally an aficionado for tech jackets in the first place. As far as I'm concerned, the jacket looks great. But the caution stickers all over her, apparently they're there for a reason. This was from Reddit. Here we are. Here's Chloe making fun of her gen mates.
身長148センチ48センチラプラスよりは大きいですお子ちゃまよりは全然大きいです
She definitely has older sibling energy. Here's the part I mentioned earlier about her plans with HoloX. In-universe flavor, of course.
まあね、やっぱりせっかくホロライブ入らせていただけたから目標を発表したいと思います。はい、そして最後下克上もちろんねインターンだからって舐めてもらっちゃ困りますよと。
The intern wants the boss's job.
怖い優しいけど怖いフルネームはね可愛いけど怖い子ちゃんもね、そしてまだ出てないですけれどいろはちゃんもね、はい、超えられるように
So she wants to surpass them, but she's afraid of everybody except the boss herself.
目標です。もっと大きい目標も立てたいんだけど、もっと大きい目標についてはまたいつかみんなで一緒に決めれたらなと思います。ね、全然時間ない。やばい。いろはちゃん、同期のいろはちゃん、まだデビューしてないんですが、
She's also a bit of
い
an
ろ
M.
はちゃんからもこんなツイートがされてました。真似しちゃいけないのか。真似しちゃダメだよね。まだね、みんな知らないからネタバレになっちゃうな。どうしようかな。坂本1になったら起きるでござるかいくらなんでも寝すぎでござる起きないとお尻ぺんぺんでござるよってね、ツイートしてくれました。本当にね、いろはちゃんってすごい優しくて、ほんと怒るタイプでもなんでもないんですけど、めちゃくちゃね、この時ばかりはね、ポンポンって感じだったから、はっきり言って興奮しました。叩いてってもっといいよって。
This intern ain't say so.
よくないんですかね。マリちゃん。
This intern does not say so.
やめますね。
I'll stop making content to my movie. Yep. Masochist. In fact, I don't think there's a single say-so member of this entire organization yet.
どうしてそんなにペンペンされたがるのって来てますが、
言ったな。結構言うじゃん。いや、なんか坂本の壁みたいなとこ、これしゃべって。 みたいなとこがあるんですけれど、ちょっと清楚そうな、あんまり普段こうペンペンとかお仕置きみたいなこと言わない子にそういうことを言われるのが非常に来るとこありますね。
Oh my god.
お子ちゃんだったらわかるよね。
なんとなくわかるけど、ちょっと趣味は違うなって思った。
Oh my god.
ぽいちゃんの場合は
コヨはむしろペンペンとか言ってくるんじゃなくて、言えない子の方が言えてないみたいな状態の方が好き。
あー、どっちもわか
そう
A certain subreddit is going to have a field day with this entire conversation.
おっぱいがあるのかないのかわかんないぞみたいなダボダボなトレーナー着てる時の方が好きっていうのと同じ感覚。
あー、なんか高度だな。
これ幹部はどう思うんだこれ。わかるのかこの壁が。
私は双子にしか興味ないかな。
いやまあ全員怖いな我が輩。
そういうやつだったよな、ルイでは。
何が好きなの？
我が輩の組織はみんな気持ち悪いやつしかいない。
ラプラスは
ちゃんもねあるでしょう。
我が輩？
うん。
手かな。
なんかちょっとニッチだな。ねえ、なんかガチだよそれ。
服が綺麗な人がいい。
ちょっとガチきしょいじゃん。きしょいじゃん。
Not a single one of them are going to be safe of this generation.
こうあれ。
Yagu's dreams!
長くなったら爪切って。
Okay, that's a little much.
はめて手持ち歩き。手のひら持ち。おい誰もジョジョ見てないのか？誰も見てないのかジョジョ。
ジョジョネタだったんだな。
Oh my god, it really was a JoJo reference.
本当ではないってこと？
そうだよ。
なんだ。
そうだね。
なんだ。
言っちゃった
ジョジョネタ
よ。
の方を言ったの。
いやラプラスならありえると思っちゃった。ごめんごめん。
なんでどういうイメージ？
確かに確かに。
そう。
いや我が輩とかないから。
Oh no.
いやこれからどんどん見つけてこうね。
うん。開発ね。
今開発って言って
発見していこうね。
So, Gigi mentioned that Marine will like her. And in fact, Marine, has caught wind of her.
いやでも今日のさね今日のクロエさんねもうすごいね赤ちゃん味を感じてしまって久しぶりのねルーナタン感を感じたわ。ちょっとマリンに画面ぶち割ろうかと思ったもん。このほとばしるパトスも一体どこにぶつければ。クロエちゃん M っぽいよ。船長がいじめ散らかすわ。海市にそうだよシャチだよシャチ君たち。ねえクロエさんってシャチなんだよシャチ。海のメンバーが増えましたと。ねなんかボロボロハウスに住んだっていうのがまた昔の船長を思わせる。ねえカナタンボインボインになったよ。なるわけねえだろボケ。寝坊したしまる。船長ちょっと寝坊してない。ねえやだねえやだこれクロエさんの真似なんだけどどう可愛い似てる可愛い
I mean,
じゃないけどどう
she's on the right path. It's just that
声カスカスやんあと6時間寝てれば声が出るんだけどな。船長だって萌え声あと6時間寝てれば萌え声が出す。
poor girl.
出るんだけどな本当に
なあ
声悔しい
At our age, you'll never get that voice back. That's just the honest truth of it. Yep. We see Team Synergy in particular is going to be extremely high with all these masochists in the same crew. Although I guess Marie's a bit of a switch. That's the same one. This is Chloe can't handle Laplace's Ikibo voice. Let me see what that's about.
じゃあ質問。
もうやだもうしない。
なんでだよ。しろって。あとよくあんねちゃん。
イケボで聞きなよなんか。
じゃあイケボで聞く。
やだな。
The little kid has a cool boy voice.
全然お前 なんだかんだ言って俺のこと好きなんだろ。
She left! She ran
あり
away!
がとうございました。今まで
今さ
抜きさせていただきます。
あのさ
はい。
やった人さどっちだと思ったラップと私。
ラップじゃないの？
何そんななんか怖い話するの急に。
今のコってやつ幹部だし、昨日の振り返り配信でも我が輩がイケボ出した時にコってやったの幹部だから
Louis with the backup.
まるで我が輩みたいに俺ってけどな、幹部なんだよ。毎回我が輩が言うとね、コってやってくれるんだよ。
自分
SE 担当だから
そうだよ。
みんな気づいてなかったけど。
I mean,
知らないかな。
it makes sense, right? That Louis would be the one doing the tongue click. Because if you want to give off that sadistic, like, dismissive vibe,
今
you always want to go with the girl with the whip.
ラップちゃんやってこう。
Stunned silence, completely unimpressed. Alright. That was a relatively short stream this time. As I suspected, the mask was a pretty strong indicator that a lot of this particular actors, this particular VTubers, draw was going to be personality based, right? Like, even all the way back to, like, La Plus's debut, when I was going over their initial designs, I kind of figured that in order to have a VTuber with a mask at all, you're probably looking at somebody that's supremely confident, or her manager and her designers are supremely confident that with or without a mask, with or without a face, she can get a crowd going with just her face and her personality. And there's nothing at all here to show that she can't. She made full use of the mask in the first place to draw some appeal, full use of her voice to drive up her cube factor. And then that ambush with the karaoke. Holy shit, that voice. That switch. That's powerful. That's good shit. Her playfulness is top notch. Her banter with her generation mates are excellent. They're just inherently funny. I feel like they're more comfortable with each other starting out than either of the English generations were at the start, and more so than Generation 5 was at the start, even to some extent, despite the fact that Generation 5 infamously was also stuck in a long bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Long limbo. And had a lot of time to get to know each other, right? Like, they're already like, the whole impression for Hollow X is that evil organization aesthetic aside, what they really are is just a family that tends to troll each other a lot because they're so familiar with each other. And Chloe definitely plays to that, in that she banters pretty regularly with her gen mates, right? Black Omega said these ones were probably scouted professionals or something, I don't know. I think it's fairly safe to say that at this point, they would, if they're not particularly directly scouted, they are at least the very cream of the crop of applicants from Hololive. And that shouldn't be particularly surprising whatsoever. Hololive basically has their choice of talents at this point, right? Like, they can choose anybody at all. They have a slice of some of the most esoteric mixes of capabilities. There are a shocking number of bilingual, even trilingual talents among their crop of talent, especially amongst the new ones, simply because that is such a huge natural advantage when you're trying to expand out into an international market, right? Like, for Chloe to be only monolingual, to only really have Japanese, is testament to how much trust they have in her personality appeal and her capability to deliver on other metrics. By far the weakest personality we've had so far was Takane Lui, and she's still like, even if she was nervous, she obviously knew what she was doing, and she had a wealth of other factors to her advantage going in. Like nobody else speaks Thai. Speaking English is pretty common now, but just having any level of international like appeal is inherently a big boost to your capability to get fans. It's a shame we probably won't get more Subarus. That's probably true. Unfortunately, we are probably long past the point where esoteric talents can pop up like that. Talking streams surprise me personally. How do people do that? You'll see that I personally don't do a lot of talking streams, and that's because that as much as I appreciate you guys, there's only like approximately 3 to 4 regulars of all of you on my streams at any one time. Like, this is honestly one of the busiest nights I've had in ages, except for my obviously collabs with Skyen, right? It's a lot easier when you have a very active chat that you can simply interact with. Like, people like on the more conventional side of streamers, like, what's his name? He just made the news today for his switch to YouTube. Give me a second, let me find that information. I know his name. I'm just brain farting real bad. News. That's not news. Ludwig Ogren, for instance, does a lot of talking streams where it's simply like a feedback loop between his antics and the chat responding to it, and then him responding to chat, and that creates a feedback loop, right? It's really, really easy to have a talk stream going when you have a semi-normal conversation like that. Now, it's not quite normal because obviously the audience can't hear each other. The questions will stumble over each other, and the streamer has to pick of whatever's interesting to answer, right? Or whatever's popped up in super chats that somebody's really desperate to get answered and they're willing to pay money for. Obviously, when the situations like that, like, it's hard not to get into a flow of things. To have that as your primary appeal alone does indicate that you are a supremely confident conversationalist, or just simply your personality is charming and winsome and you have like you roll natural 20s all the time. You're basically, in D&D terms, a natural born bard. Or sorcerer. I haven't played D&D in a while. I do find a team. But yeah. That's the impression I get from her. She knows that she's cute. She knows that she acts cute. Oh yeah. If you look back on my archives, you'll see that I've done quite a few collabs with him. I won't say whether or not we have another planned, but definitely we actively talk. Actually, I've known him for years and years and years. So don't be surprised if we have some future stuff lined up too. Yeah, letting your subconscious speak. I think that people underestimate how much of your charm is simply habitual, right? Like, yeah, content creators like this know what they're doing. They know what appeals, and they actively try to consciously do it. But in order to be successful, it has to come out as natural, right? So your subconscious appeal, your subconscious charm plays a heavy role in it. And when we're talking about subconscious, what we're really seeing is that's habitual to a point where you're no longer thinking about it. It just pops up naturally. So if you're a content creator like Chloe, who I think has a lot of background in just like talking well to people, obviously this is something she's done before. This is something that she's comfortable doing because she probably has a lot of basic charm and appeal amongst her friends in real life as well. Like, there's an art and there's a skill to being a good conversationalist, but like all skill, eventually you develop it to the point where you're no longer thinking about it. And that's the difference between talent and craftsmanship, right? Craftsmanship, you still have to pay attention to little details. Talent, the little details come to you without you putting too much effort into it. Yeah. With Sky, I did the Monster Girls and VTuber collabs. We'll probably have more in the future. I won't announce anything yet until we get all the details hammered out, but suffice to say, we are not closing out the end of the year without getting something interesting done. I have more news soon on that. Alright, so it's about 9:39 here. Oh, not too bad. I honestly don't have much more to say about Chloe because She doesn't have too many translated clips yet, and most of it, as you've seen in her debut stream, basically devolved into a talking stream. She didn't bring up like a whole range of interests to talk about. She just expected that she'll have a normal conversation with over 175,000 people. Holy shit. This is one hell of a generation to debut in. I feel really, really sorry for any content creator that manages to impress Hololive's recruitment team, shows up to the day of their debut, and suddenly has a case of stage fright. And I think they're not going to recruit anybody that hasn't dealt with stage fright before. But even if you have dealt with stage fright, even if it's no longer a thing for you to like, that'll keep you from just like going off and doing whatever you're habitually trained to do, it still makes your heart clench, man. Like I've done competitive speaking before when I was much younger, and every single time, no matter how good I got, I still get that pain in my chest, like the muscles were tensing up, having to speak before an audience. I got better at it, but doesn't necessarily mean the feeling goes away. And that was just to an audience like 24 people at most, right? At most, if I was lucky to get that far in the competition. To do it to more people that can fit in the Olympic grade stadium. Imagine that. Imagine how tough it must be. As much as we want to say that VTubers are successful by having a cute avatar and acting cute, imagine how hard it is to perform at that level to that many people at once. Like when you consider the whole scale of the thing going on, oof, you kind of have to respect it. It might seem easy, but there's nothing easy about it. And to make it seem easy is in itself an indication of talent. But that's enough of that. In approximately 8 hours, we will have the final debut stream coming from Iroha. I'm not sure that's how it's pronounced. Let me double check actually.
Iroha.
Iroha. That is bad. That's useless. I'm like a monk from World of Warcraft. Don't pay before enjoying the fight, but once I depart the stage, all the fright and cringe hits me all at once like a truck. Yes, that's exactly my experience. It is disgusting how painful it is after the fact. But like, obviously, before all that, you train to the point where it's like your mouth is almost moving by itself, and it's mostly your subconscious brain like taking off notes. I should do this next. I should say this next. This needs this inflection and tone in order to sound pretty good, and you go off and say it. And then it's only afterwards that you realize the whole scope of what you did and how hard it was, and then it hits you just really, really, really painfully. But yeah, how do you pronounce Iroha?
Futaba also quite a lot, but for less extent.
I don't want that video. English, Japanese.
Iroha. Iroha karuta.
Iroha. Okay, so the O is a little short and the Ha is a little short. So, Iroha. Yeah. Iroha is roughly right. I don't think I have it completely correct. But yeah. What was her last name again? Kazuma Iroha. Kazuma Iroha. She looks as if she was heavily influenced by both, Good night, Oi. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for the very last reaction stream. I'm also going to go to bed because I'm tired. I'm kind of achy from today's exertions. But yeah, this was fun. Tomorrow we have the very last one at the end of the day for me. I'll try to capture as many clips as I can before going off to work. But yeah, the samurai aesthetic and the Dikozaru old school style speech, that's definitely going to be interesting. And I will see you all tomorrow. The usual spiel: like, subscribe, leave a comment, boost the algorithm, make me look good to YouTube if you want. Follow my Twitter for more news and updates. Obviously, especially as with today, occasionally I'll be late to my streams because of some real world issues, and that's because I don't get paid to do this. I just do this because I like to. So follow me on Twitter for more news, TikTok if you want to see some bullshit. And I will see you all tomorrow. As always, my friends, take care of yourselves and eat well.